Hello students. Last class I have started with module 2 where I have discussed the introduction to decision tree, decision tree learning, decision tree representation, and some of the important characteristics with which the decision tree learning is best suited to solve the problems. Right? See, in today's class, let us see one of the basic decision tree learning algorithm, that is ID tree. So most of the learning algorithms that have been developed for learning decision trees. So they are what the different variations on a core algorithm that employs a top-down approach, a greedy search approach to the space of possible decision trees. So this approach is developed by ID tree algorithm and its successor C4.pi algorithm, which will form the primary focus of our main discussion here. So in this section, I am going to present the basic algorithm for decision tree learning corresponding to approximately to the ID tree algorithm. So what is ID tree algorithm? So ID tree stands for iterative dichotomizer tree. Then ID tree is a precursor to the C4.pi algorithm, and this algorithm was invented by Ross Quinlan in 1975. And this ID tree algorithm is used to generate a decision tree from a given data set by employing a top-down approach, a greedy search, to test each attribute at every node of the tree. The resulting tree is used to classify the future samples or for the prediction or the future decisions. So our basic algorithm ID tree, it learns the decision trees by constructing them the top down approach, beginning with the question that which attribute should be tested at the root of the decision tree. To answer this question, each instance attribute is evaluated using a statistical test to determine how well this algorithm classifies the training examples. The best attribute is selected and used as the test at the root node of the tree. Then a descendant of the root node is then created for each possible value of this attribute, and then the training examples are sorted to the appropriate descendant node. The entire process is then repeated using the training examples associated with each descendant node to select the best attribute to test at that point in the decision tree. So this will form a greedy search here for an acceptable decision tree in which the algorithm will never backtrack to reconsider the earlier choices. So a simplified version of this algorithm specialized to the learning Boolean valued functions. So which is clearly described here, that is ID tree algorithm. So this is what the algorithm is, that is ID tree. So this algorithm we are going to call with these parameters, that is training examples, target attribute, and the set of attributes. Here examples are the training examples. Target attribute is the attribute whose value is to be predicted by the tree. Then attribute is a list of other attributes that may be tested by the learned decision tree. Then it will return a decision tree that will classify, means which will correctly classify the given examples or the given training examples. So this is what how the ID tree works and the outcome of ID tree algorithm. So if you look into the different steps of this IDT algorithm, so first it will create a root node of the decision tree. If all the examples are positive, then it will return a single node tree along with root and with the label equal to plus. Suppose if all the examples are negative, then it will return the single node tree root with the label equal to minus. If the attributes are empty, then it will return the single node tree root with the label equal to the most common value of the target attribute in the examples. Otherwise, what it will perform is the attribute from the attribute that best classifies the examples, that is what A is, capital A. The decision attribute for the root is capital A, and for each possible value vi of A, it will add a new tree branch below root, then corresponding to the test A equal to vi. It will perform this test whether A is equal to vi. Vi is nothing but the possible value, that is vi. So here it will check whether A is equal to vi. Let examples vi be the subset of examples that have the value vi for A. If examples vi is empty, in that case, uh, below this new branch is add a leaf node with the label equal to and the most common value of the target attribute in the examples, or else below this new branch it will add a subtree, then it will call id tree of example vi target attribute and target minus a, then it will end and it will return the root node. So this is how the id tree algorithm work. Here the best attribute is the one with the highest information gain. So this is what the summary of id tree algorithm, which is specialized to the learning boolean valued functions. I hope this algorithm is clear how the id tree algorithm works, which is specialized to the learning boolean valued functions. Then the question comes, which attribute is the best classifier? Here, the central choice in the IDT algorithm is selecting which attribute is used to test at each node in the tree. So, we would like to select the attribute that is most useful for classifying the examples, means training examples. Here, examples means training examples, right? So, what is the good quantitative measure of the worth of an attribute? We'll define a statistical property which is known as information gain. So that will measure how well a given attribute separate the training examples according to their target classification. Here ID3 uses this information gain measure to select among the candidate attributes at each step while it is growing the tree. So this is how you can choose the best attribute or the attribute as a best classifier. The next is entropy measures the homogeneity of the examples. So in order to define the information gain precisely, we begin by defining a measure which is the most commonly used in the information theory called as entropy. So that will characterize the purity or the impurity of an arbitrary collection of examples. So given a collection capital S containing the positive and negative examples of some target concept, the entropy of S, which is relative to this Boolean classification, is entropy of S is equal to minus P subscript plus log P to the base 2 minus P minus log P minus to the base 2. So this is what the entropy S, which is relative to the Boolean classification. Here P plus is the proportion of positive examples in S, whereas P minus is the proportion of negative examples in S. And in all the calculations involving entropy, we define a 0 log 0 to be 0. Means we have to define 0 log 0 to be defined as 0. So to illustrate this, consider an example. Suppose capital S is a collection of 14 examples of some Boolean concept, including 9 positive examples and 5 negative examples. So here we are going to adopt the notation as 5 plus 5 minus. No, 9 plus 5 minus. 9 plus means 9 positive examples, 5 minus means 5 negative examples, right? I hope this statement is clear. So it is just to illustrate the entropy part. Suppose S is a collection of 14 examples of some Boolean concept, it including 9 positive example, and its representation is 9 plus, and 5 negative examples, that is 5 minus. Then the entropy of S, which is relative to this Boolean classification, is given as entropy of 9 plus comma 5 minus is equal to minus 9 divided by 14 log 9 by 14 to the base 2 minus 5 divided by 14 log 5 by 14 to the base 2, which is equal to 0.940. So this calculation I have done exactly as per this entropy formula. The entropy formula is given as entropy of S equal to minus P plus, means plus means positive examples, right? Minus P plus log P to the base 2 minus P minus, minus means negative examples here. So P minus log P minus to the base 2. So with 5 positive and 9 positive and 5 negative examples, I have applied the same entropy formula here. That is entropy of 9 plus 5 minus, which is equal to minus 9 divided by 14 log 9 by 14 to the base 2 minus, so this is with respect to the negative examples, that is 5 by 14 log 5 by 14 to the base 2, and I got the result as 0.940. This is what the overall entropy here. So here you can notice that the entropy is 0 if all the members of S belong to the same class, and for example if all the members are positive, means P plus equal to 1. In that case P minus is equal to 0. Obviously if all the members of the set, or if all the examples are positive examples, then there are no possibility of the negative examples. That's why you can say that if P plus equal to 1, then P minus is obviously equal to 0, and entropy S is minus 1 in that case. Means entropy S is equal to minus 1 dot log 1 to the base 2 minus 0 dot log 0 to the base 2. So it comes out around 0. It means that if all the members of S are belonging to the same class, in that case all the members are positive. Suppose if all the members are positive, then P plus equal to 1 and P minus equal to 0. In that case we will get entropy as 0, that is entropy of S as 0. So you can note that entropy is 1 when the collection contain an equal number of positive and negative examples. So this is what the one more case. If the set contain, or if the collection contain equal number of positive and negative examples, in that case entropy is equal to 1. And if the collection contain unequal number of positive and negative examples, then the entropy is between 0 and 1. So these are what the different cases here. One case is if the collection contain all the positive members, then P plus equal to 1, P minus equal to 0, and we will get the entropy as 0. Suppose if there are equal number of positive and negative examples in the set, then entropy is equal to 1. Suppose if there are unequal number of positive and negative examples, then entropy is vary between 0 and 1. So this is clearly shown in this figure how exactly the entropy is going to vary. So if all the members are positive, then entropy is 0. If there are equal number of positive and negative examples, then entropy is 1. If there are unequal number of positive and negative examples, then entropy varies between 0 and 1. So this figure illustrates the entropy function relative to a Boolean classification as the proportion p plus of positive examples varies between 0 and 1. So one interpretation of entropy from the information theory is that it specifies the minimum number of bits of information needed to encode the classification of an arbitrary member of set, that is S. For example, if p plus is 1, then the receiver knows the drawn example will be positive, so no message need to be sent and the entropy is 0. On the other hand, if p plus is 0.5, then one bit is required to indicate whether the drawn example is positive or negative. Suppose if p plus is 0.8, then a collection of messages can be encoded using on average, which is less than 1 bit per message, by assigning a shorter codes to collection of the positive examples and longer codes to less likely the negative examples. So this is what the entropy part, that is the entropy measure homogeneity of the examples. The next important concept is the information gain measure, the expected reduction in entropy. Here given the entropy as a measure of the impurity in a collection of training examples, we can now define a measure of the effectiveness of an attribute in classifying the training data. Here we will use the measure which is known as the information gain. So information gain simply expected reduction in the entropy caused by the partitioning examples according to this measure. So more precisely, the entropy gain is represented as gain of S comma A. This is what the representation of information gain. Gain of S comma A of an attribute A, which is relative to the collection of examples S. I hope this representation is clear. Gain of S comma A. Gain of S comma A is nothing but information gain of an attribute A, which is relative to a collection of examples S, and it is defined as gain of S comma A is equal to entropy of S minus summation SV divided by S entropy of SV, where V belongs to values of A. Here values of A is the set of all possible values for attribute A, and SV is the subset of S for which attribute A has the value V. That is SV equal to S belongs to S, that is the small s belongs to capital S, or capital A of S is equal to V. Here you can note that the first term in this equation is just the entropy of the original collection capital S, and the second term is the expected value of the entropy after S is partitioned using A. Means this is what first term and this is the second term. Here first term is just entropy of original collection S, and the second term Second term, this is what the expected value of entropy after capital S is partitioned using the attribute A. The expected entropy described by the second term is simply the sum of all the entropies of each subset SV, then weighted by fraction of examples, that is SV by S, that belongs to SV. Here gain of S comma A is the number of bits saved when encoding the target value of an arbitrary member of S by knowing the value of attribute A. It means that the value of gain of S comma A, it is nothing but the number of bits saved when encoding the target value of an arbitrary member of S by knowing the value of attribute A. For example, suppose capital S is the collection of training examples, or consider capital S is a collection of training example days which is described by including some attributes such as wind, which can have the values weak or strong. Consider the collection or the set of training example days capital S, which is described by the attribute wind, and the possible values of the wind are weak or strong. So before assume that capital S is the collection containing 14 examples, that is 9 plus and 5 minus. So initially consider that this S is containing 14 examples, that is 9 positive examples and 5 negative examples, right? Of these 14 examples, suppose 6 are positive and means suppose consider out of these 14 examples, suppose 6 of the positive and 2 of the negative examples have a wind as weak, and the remaining, that is have the wind as strong. Here the information gain due to sorting these 14 examples by the attribute wind may be calculated as. I hope this part is clear. Consider capital S as a collection of training example days which is described by attribute wind, and wind is having two possible values, weak or strong. So initially consider this collection or this set S is including 9 positive and 5 negative examples, out of which 6 of the positive examples and 2 of the negative examples have wind is equal to weak, and the remaining have wind equal to strong. Now the information gained due to sorting the original 14 examples by the attribute wind may be calculated as, means according to this information. Now the information gain is calculated as gain S comma wind is equal to, that is gain of S comma wind is equal to entropy of S minus 8 divided by 14, entropy of S weak minus 6 divided by 14, entropy of S strong. So here we have different calculations, that is 0.94 or 0.940. So this result we already got from the previous example, that is the entropy of S with the 9 positive and 5 negative examples as 0.94. The remaining calculations are 8 by 14, then 0.811 minus 6 by 14 into 1.0. Why it is 1.0? Because there are equal number of positive and negative examples, so that's why it is 1.0. And perform this calculation and you will get the result as 0.048. Here the information gain is precisely the measure which is used by ID tree to select the best attribute at each step in growing the tree. Here the use of information gain to evaluate the relevance of attribute is summarized in this particular figure. So in this figure, the information gain of two different attributes, that is humidity and wind. That is information gain of these two attributes, humidity and wind, is computed in order to determine which is the best attribute for classifying the training examples, different training examples, right? So this figure I'll once again illustrate in the next class by taking some set of training examples uh, as an illustration. So in tomorrow's class, let us consider some example where I am going to consider some set of training examples for the target concept, that is play tennis, the same enjoy sport game. I am going to consider where the target concept is play tennis, and for those training examples I am going to illustrate this concept, that is which attribute is the best classifier for classifying the training examples.